according to Vastu, the temple should be facing, the deity should be facing east, and the entrance should be to the east. But at New Dwarka, and here, thank you, and here in SanDiego, New Dwarka is facing west, and we're facing south. But the advantage is when people walk by, and if the doors are open, they can see the deities. And in the summertime, when these doors are opened out, and the red light is there, and the traffic backs up, they're sitting in traffic. They see Radha Giridhari. So I take it as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. We're not so attached to Vastu and formality. We want to know, do they get mercy? That's Mahaprabhu's mood. And Prabhupada also said that you should always dress Radharani a little more beautiful than Krishna. Anyone know why? Prabhupada said that way Krishna will never leave. So they're dressed very nicely today, and Radharani's a little more beautiful. Oh, there it is. He Govinda. Jaya Radho Marava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radho Marava Kunda Bihari. A little faster. Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Suranandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Munatari Jamuna Tira Jaya Radha Marava Kunda Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Njera Marava Kunda Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivaja Gacharya Siddha Shishman's Divine Grace Abhaichadan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBD Founder Charya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantakura Vaishnavrinda Ki Nam Charya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Radhakrishna Gaur Gopinath Shama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadip Dham Ki Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Ganga Maya Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Sambhita Bhaktivinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sri Radha Giridhari Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Gopremanande. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to divine Lotus Sita, Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. So today is a very special day. And you will notice today is the appearance day of Srimati Radharani, Radhastami. Now on Janmashtami, Krishna's birthday, so many people are here. Radhastami, of course, we're having our main festival this evening, but you will find that it is a smaller group because it is a in-house, subtle, very deep subject matter. People can understand Krishna. Krishna is God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, Narayan, Vishnu. Okay. But to understand Srimati Radharani, we tend to think, let us say this, the general tendency is to think it's some kind of mundane boyfriend, girlfriend, or it's all analogy. No, now you show up. It's all allegorical, something like that. Analogy. So it requires, if one's given very rich food, the rich food may be very good on a, analyzing its nutritional value. But if I don't have the ability to digest, what happens with that rich, good food? It makes me sick. So one has to have the digestive power, or in Vedic literature it says one has to have sufficient adhikari, or qualification. You cannot approach, just as you cannot approach Krishna cheaply, but even more so, you cannot approach Srimati Radharani cheaply. It requires a surrender, requires adhikari, spiritual qualification. Otherwise, it'll seem like something mundane. So we're going to get into something else, but I just wanted some foundational understanding. And it's true of every refined subject. Every refined subject has higher levels of understanding. If you want to understand music, okay, you can go out and bang on a tambourine or a drum, or jack up the bass line and play some rap or whatever, or country music, which is an oxymoron like military intelligence or marital bliss. Country music, it's an oxymoron, opposing terms. But quality appreciation, you have to understand rhythm and anticipation and theme, and there's one theme laid over another theme, and whatever. So to understand such a refined, deep spiritual science as Vrindavan Bhakti has exemplified, the paragon of Vrindavan Bhakti, Prabhupada says, love of God. Oh God, give us this day our daily bread. Okay, it's something nice, but it's more or less official. It's love of bread. It's not really love of God. And Prabhupada says in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in the introduction, that they're thinking that if God doesn't feed me, I'll die. It's very good on one hand. The recognition of dependence is the first step in God realization, that I'm not the cause of all causes, I'm dependent. I'm dependent on the supreme cause, Krishna. Okay, that's good. Prabhupada says in his own wonderful turn of phrase, he said it's something, but not much. And the mood of Vrindavan is that that mood is, if God doesn't feed me, I'll die. And that's most people's mood. Oh, God, give us this. God's the great ATM or Amazon in the sky. Vending machine, If God doesn't feed me, I'll die. Okay. But what's the mood in Vrindavan? What is Mother Yasoda? Yes, Dravida Prabhu. The reason Mother Yasoda, we're off the track, but in Damodar Lila, she tied him up because, there's a number of reasons, but one reason is she's thinking that, I have to make these nice sweets and feed Krishna so he'll become nice and healthy. She was also thinking that he's a thief, he's getting a bad reputation, so I have to cook this very nicely so that we can try to please him so he'll stop stealing, But that's another aspect of his. But the point is that if we don't feel that Krishna's dependent on me, that's a whole other world. That's a much more intimate, sublime, selfless mood. And the queen of Vrindavan Bhav is Srimati Radharani. That apex, the culmination of surrender and love and selflessness, that you find in Srimati Radharani. She's the exemplar of that. And it's her property. So that's in the way of a little introduction. Prabhupada makes the point, because people say, we want to hear about, Radha and Krishna. And I was mentioning the other day about the sadhu who was talking Radha Krishna Leela. And they do that. It's Bhagavad Shaptaha. They jump to the Radha Krishna Leela and the gopis, and people, they experience these. So Prabhupada tells the story about the one man, saffron cloth, nice turban, nice little beard, a little bit of gray in it. Very nice. Cutting the profile of a, And he was talking Radha and Krishna, and he noticed this one lady in the front, she was crying. So I thought, just see, by my words, she's becoming, experiencing Krishna Prem, Gopi Bhav. So afterwards, he thought, now that she's in ecstasy, maybe she'll give me a little donation. So he sidled up to her and started some conversation. I noticed that you were appreciating my katha very much. You were crying. She said, yes, I was deeply moved. He said, what particularly was moving you? He said, when you said Radha, he said, I had a goat. She said, I had a goat when I was a little girl who was my best friend, followed me to school, was always with me, and I named her Radha. And when you shake your head and say Radha with your little beard, it reminds me of my goat, because my goats have a little beard. So when you say Radha and shake your head and I look at your little beard, I think of my goat who's passed away, and therefore I'm crying. So, and Prabhupada tells the story with the point is, what is the qualification? It's, So, anyway, it's a refined science. So don't take it cheaply. To give you just a sample, Dravida Prabhu is going to be speaking tonight, and I think tomorrow also, because it's a deep subject matter. We'll talk also tomorrow instead of Bhagavatam. Balaram and I will switch class. We'll see how far we get today. But just as Krishna expands, can anyone, other than Balaram and Dravida Prabhu, can anyone think of an example? Oh, this is such a underhand, softball pitch, slow pitch, from Brahma Samhita about Krishna's different expansions, all being of the same potency, simultaneously one and different. What is an example from Brahma Samhita? Okay, that's one, but we're talking about Krishna's expansions and milk to yogurts. Yes, Prabhu? I was
thinking of the candle.
Exactly. And what is that analogy?
That just as one candle can light many candles, there's also the original.
Of the same, you can take one candle, you can light many other candles of the same candle power. Still, there's the original cause. So in the same way, Krishna expands. Narayan, Vishnu, Ram, Shringadev, so many, more than waves of the ocean. If you could count those, still you could not count the various incarnations, manifestations of Krishna. So as Krishna Krishna is the Sarvakarana Karanam. From one candle you can light many other candles. Lord Ram, the Shringa, Vishnu, Narayan, all of that. Similarly, Srimati Radharani is the origin, the original From her comes Lakshmi. From her comes Sita. From her comes Durga, Parvati. They all emanate from and rest upon Srimati Radharani. So just to give you a sense, a little bit of appreciation when we, we're not just talking about some village girl or some mundane thing. We're talking Srimati Radharani. And anyone know Madan Mohan? What does Madan Mohan mean? The name of Sanatana Goswami's deity. Yes? Madan is Cupid. Everyone's mad. Cupid controls everyone with his arrows. And yet Krishna controls Cupid. So we're all attracted by lust, this and that. Cupid's arrows, what is it? Form, taste, the different arrows that he assaults our senses. We're conquered by Cupid. But Krishna conquers Cupid. But what's the next level? Madan Mohan Mohini. That she can conquer even the conqueror of Krishna. Even the conqueror of Cupid, Krishna. So, to give an idea, because everyone wants some Leela, so let's tell a little Leela that has a purport and puts things in the right. Anyway, I'll attempt to put things in the right framework. So, there's always there's Parakiya Ras and, what is the other? Swakiya Ras. So one is legitimately married. And there's a whole pastime where the gopis actually marry Krishna. I don't want to get too far afield, but when Krishna when Krishna expanded into all the cowherd boys, when Brahma stole the cows, at that time, actually all the gopis got married to different gopas, but they were all expansions of Krishna. And there's other examples from the Goswami literature that actually, anyway, but even sweeter is this Parakiya Ras, because there's some secrecy, there's a risk of being captured, one risks everything to be with one's lover, one gives up even so it's a very rich and surrendered and has a special flavor. So in that special flavor, Radha and Krishna are meeting secretly. But there's some rumor. Is it who is Abhimanu's mother? Jatila is the mother-in-law? And she's the classic. If you like to read, I used to like to read Shakespeare. I used to like drama. There's always, there has to be some suspense. There has to be so many different things, right? There has to be a villain. It's not a good story unless there's a villain. So, but if you read Krishna Leela, in the Bhagavatam, everything's there. For romance, adventure, suspense. You'll never find villains of the caliber of Hiranyakasipu in Shakespeare. So, there is the drama of there was some criticism of Srimati Radharani. There was some rumor that she's meeting with Krishna, she's not chaste, what to do. And therefore they put the clamps on. They had her under strict observation. So she was not, her in-laws were keeping her. So she was not able to meet with Krishna. So Krishna passed out, fainted, was completely, was it ennui? What is that word? Just ennui. That one, no energy, no. So Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, of course they didn't know what the issue was, that he was actually feeling deep separation. So they called an Ayurvedic doctor. And the Ayurvedic doctor studied the matter very carefully. And he said, actually the only thing that will cure him is water from the Jamuna drawn by the most chaste lady in Vrindavan. It's the only thing that will cure him. And then he did further calculations. All of his astrologers, they called astrologers, this, that. They did a whole calculation. They calculated who was... Oh, and the pot had this important point. The pot bringing the water had to be full of holes. And whoever could carry that water from the Jamuna on their head without any water leaking, even though it was full of holes, that was the most chaste lady. So they did calculations Kutila, Jatila, this one, that one, so many. All of them, nobody could do it. So they said, what to do? You must not have found the most chaste lady in Vrindavan. So the astrologer went back, they did all their calculations, the Ayurvedic doctor, and they said, Radharani. They said, wow, how can it be Radharani? There's some cloud over her chastity. Maybe she's meeting with, what can I say? He said, stars don't lie. What can I say? It's all here. She wouldn't do it initially. She said, no, you're all giving me such a hard time. I'm not going to, But they said, if you don't, Mother Jasoda appealed, if you don't do it, how will Krishna be saved? So all right, out of love of Krishna, she did it. And she carried the water from the Jamuna without a single drop spilling. All the wives of the Devas came to offer respects to Srimati Radharani. Please teach us how to be chaste. So she's the most, Abhimanyu Sharu doesn't even touch Srimati Radharani. So let us understand things properly. It is not cheap, it is not, anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. So, Srimati Radharani has she's unlimited potencies, and if we have time, either if we don't do it today, we'll do it tomorrow. We're going to read her 25 qualities. Krishna has how many qualities? 64. I think, is it Vishnu has 60, Shiva has 59, whatever the different calculations are. But Krishna has 64 transcendental qualities. How many does Radharani have? Srimati Radharani? 25 qualities. 64, 25. But what is the comparison Rupa Goswami makes? Even with those 25 qualities, she completely conquers and controls Krishna. So we'll get to that in a second. But the two of those, amongst those 25 qualities, which conquer even Krishna's 64 qualities, there are two that are the most prominent. Two you can put in two categories. And those two categories are that she gives unlimited, immeasurable, ever-increasing pleasure to Krishna. That's one of her potencies. Ever-expanding, ever-increasing, unlimitedly, inconceivable pleasure to Krishna. And anyone know what her other special potency is? She gives shelter to the devotees. She is the actual shelter of the devotees. And she is the queen of the house of bhakti. You cannot enter the house of bhakti without Srimati Radharani's mercy. Her grace, her mercy is the key that opens the house of bhakti. And her speciality is giving shelter to Krishna's devotees. Krishna can be, this is a little esoteric, and it comes from the Goswamis, that Krishna can be a little cold, apparently. It's actually all mercy. But just like a doctor gets in there and performs surgery, just hold him down, I'm coming in with a knife. And that's what needs to be done. So Krishna, these are esoteric and nuanced subject matters, but he can be a little direct. And Srimati Radharani has experienced that. Like the last of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's in the Shikshastikam, make me brokenhearted by not being present before me, crush me by your embrace. So Srimati Radharani has felt that Vipralamba. Krishna went to Dwarka, went to Mathura, left all the gopis. So she has, of course, on the other hand, I know the philosophy, but the point is that Radharani has experienced that, I don't know what the right word is, but that, because I don't want to say harsh, but that side of Krishna. And therefore, she's especially compassionate to the devotees who are suffering in the course of bhakti. Sometimes it's not easy. Krishna has his reasons, But she's having experienced that aspect of Krishna herself. Srimati, this is one of the reasons why she's especially merciful to the devotees. And as I mentioned this morning, but for the internet land, and those who weren't here, actually Durlab, I didn't say it quite properly, Durlab, my first temple president, who I can never repay, shaved me up as a young boy. But we were going up to LA all the time, you know, whatever it is. I don't want to spend time on that. But, and Vishnujan Swami was very kind to me. So when he saw me show up shaved up, that's when he told me. He said Prabhupada told him that when a devotee shaves up, because it's a surrender, you know, my beautiful hair, and we all think we're Keshava, so it's a big deal to shave up. So it's a surrender, no doubt about it. So Vishnujan said that Prabhupada told him that when a devotee makes that surrender, all right, Krishna, now I'm yours, that Srimati Radharani goes directly to Krishna and says, just see, this devotee has surrendered unto you. Give him your mercy. Give him your mercy. Give him your shelter of your lotus feet. And then Vishnujan said that Prabhupada said that when Krishna is appealed to by Radharani, that Radharani is on our, what do you call it, the power of attorney, or she's intervening on our behalf. And she says to Krishna, this devotee, give him your shelter. Prabhupada says that when he's asked by Srimati Radharani, he cannot refuse. So we pray to Srimati Radharani that please give us your mercy. And of course we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna combined, therefore. But one of Srimati Radharani's special features, what time is it? One of Srimati Radharani's special features, as I'm describing this giving mercy, Srimati Radharani, the gopis, just try to, it's the antithesis, it is the opposite. In the material world, everybody's trying to elbow everybody else out and put themselves at the center. They want to be the center of enjoyment. But the gopis are all trying to make tasteful arrangements and push Radharani forward. And what is Radharani doing? She's trying to make arrangements so the gopis can experience Krishna. It's just the antithesis. It's the complete opposite of material mentality. So in that mood, Radharani, this is the, what is it? I'm a little tired. My neighbors, anyway, I'm not going to spend time on it. But Nikunjayuno Radhakela Siddhai, this making tasteful arrangements. Well, that's far beyond us, and it is. But at the same time, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood. This is Srimati Radharani's mood, as she wants the gopis to come close and associate with Krishna. Srimati Radharani wants to, she's especially merciful to the conditioned souls and the devotees. So when we take up the mood of Srimati Radharani, and that doesn't mean, Giriraj Maharaj told me this, there was some, it was colorful, just like we have unusual characters nowadays. It was really wild in those days. And there was a sannyasi who's, anyway, you'll understand. He was always a strange bird. And he'd spent time in Vrindavan and Radhakund and this and that, and then he came to Juhu. And he would spend his whole time in his room. He wouldn't come to Mangalarti. He had some brahmachari bring him prasad. He spent his whole time in his room. And Giriraj Maharaj had been told by Prabhupada that it doesn't matter who they are, they should go to the morning program. If you think you're more advanced in the morning program or that you don't need it, you're in trouble. That's a flashing red light. I mean, we're off the track. But anyway, so this devotee was not coming to Mangalartik, and Giriraj Maharaj had sent some messages, and the guy wouldn't come. So finally, Giriraj Maharaj is the temple president. He's got a responsibility. And the man's not coming. Prabhupada said, it's not good for him. It's not help. What's he doing? Locked him. So they had the key. They opened up the door. You know what the man was doing? It's how, externally confirmed. He was there in his kopans like a peacock. Meow, meow. He was thinking, I'm in Vrindavan mood. The peacocks are the day. He was way off. So when we say Nikunja Rasa, this is not, all of that will be revealed in due course of time. Prabhupada's famous mantra was, do the needful, you'll advance. You won't find, Prabhupada used to say, you won't find Krishna in the bushes of Vrindavan. Do the needful. And that essence of that needful is when we catch the mood of Srimati Radharani. And that mood of Srimati Radharani, she wants to see everyone come to Krishna's lotus feet. She wants to see people to give up rotting in this material world and go back to Vrindavan. Wonderful sporting pastimes. To get the taste of bhakti. That's what she wants. Because that's what Krishna wants. And she wants what Krishna wants. Like they say, if if A equals B and B equals C, A equals C? Like dominoes? If we want to please Krishna, well, what does Krishna want? Krishna wants all the living entities to come back to him and stop rotting in this material world. And the embodiment of that mood is Srimati Radharani. So, and we can't get entered into the house of bhakti. The key is Radharani's mercy. How will we get that key in our hand and open the door? If we become absorbed in this Sankirtan mission, delivering the message of Krishna to the conditioned souls, that's how you get Radharani's mercy. You don't get it by being a peacock, meow, meow. Let me go join the 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan to bring it to a sharp point. That's not where you're going to get it. You're going to get it on the front line giving mercy to Krishna. And whether that's by prasadam distribution or making the deities beautiful so people are inspired, whether it's by book distribution, fine. That's a variable. Okay, got that off my chest. Because I wanted to read about those. Okay, so we'll start, and we'll just do one or two. There are marks on Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. And here's one for the ladies, and two for the men. And that's not a gender preference, it's just there's more men than women. Whoops. So thank you, Prabhu. We'll just start today. Because this is a meditation by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. And we talk about those lotus feet, take shelter of those lotus feet. So these are the marks on Radharani's lotus feet. And they explain, well, it's self-explanatory, hopefully. So this is from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. These are historical figures. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. You can see, we now have in our archives, in Hari Sari Prabhu's started the Bhakti Vedanta Research Center in Calcutta. They have samples. Also, you can go to the right down from our Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. What is that? It's called the Vrindavan Institute. What is that? You can see samples of the Goswamis' literature, of their handwriting. You can see where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did some editing corrections. Is it Gadadhar Pandit who's in there made some corrections on their commentary? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, crossing this word out. You can see it. You can go to their house. You can go to the Nawab Hussain Shah's prison and see where Sanatana Goswami was locked up. It's not just, some 500 years ago, Krishnadas Kaviraj, took some stories and romanticized the thing. It's history, it's fact. So, and profound, if the Jiva Goswamis, Tat Sandarbha, it is the deepest, profoundest presentation of philosophy in the world. And it starts off, how do we know what we know? Okay, there's so many schools of philosophy, but, maybe it's your perception, maybe it's this, that. There's so many different, where do you start? Your senses are fallible. This is, what some people say, whatever. How do you actually start? Western philosophy says, I think, therefore I am. I'm conscious. I'm conscious there's me and there's an external world. What the nature of my self-identity is, what the nature of the external world is, that whole thing, I don't know anything. But this cornerstone I know. I have a sense of internal and external. I have a sense of identity, whether it's just brain function, whether it's the soul, who knows? But that much we do know. That's where the Tat Sandarbhas by Jiva Goswami begin. And it builds from there. We don't have time to go into it, but it builds step by step, every step irrefutable, and finally comes to the point of Bhagavatam and Krishna. So these are, we stand before intellectual giants, not sentimentalists, not, couldn't make it, or, whatever it is, or they're smoking. You see those guys in Vrindavan honking on their hookahs and, crying in ecstasy. No. Deep, profound philosophers. And they accept. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is one of those. We could maybe we'll do a little research on him tomorrow. We'll say a little bit about him first. So you understand who we're hearing from. And how he's saying, Prabhupada says, what is it, from Sikshastikam, let me become an atom at the dust of your lotus feet. Yeah. Prabhupada said, what is the significance of this verse? That Krishna has lotus feet. You can't become a speck of dust under the lotus feet unless the lotus feet are real. Here's we're reading about Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. They're real. In fact, what we think is real is completely a river of names only, from earth, fire, water, air, ether, mind, intelligence, the Mahabhuta, all shifting, constantly shifting. Radharani's the lotus feet. That's real. So the caliber of intellect, they're not sentimentalists, they're not just born in a particular tradition, and therefore they heard it from their grandmother, therefore they're repeating it. Like I say, it goes back to the cornerstone of perception. Who am I? What is this? And builds from there. So it's not sentimental, it's not just, carrying on a tradition. It's profound intellect by real people. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is telling us about Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. So we'll just read one. And then we'll read the rest tomorrow. On the right foot, well, let me do this. I worship Sri Radha, whose beautiful right lotus foot is adorned with 8 auspicious markings. At the base of the big toe is a conch shell. Below the second and middle toe is a mountain. Below the mountain, in the center towards the heel, is a chariot, and a fish is on the heel. Besides the chariot, on the inside edge of the foot, is a shakti, or weapon, like a spear. There is a club on the other side of the chariot, near the outer edge of the foot. Near the little toe is a sacrificial altar, and below that is a jeweled earring. On the left foot, I worship Sri Radha, whose elegant left foot is beautified by 11 auspicious markings. At the base of the big toe is a barley corn. Below the barley corn is a disc, and below that is an umbrella. And then a bracelet below that. An upper curving line starts at the middle of the foot and ends between the big toe and second toe. Below the middle toe is a lotus, and below that is a flag. And below the flag is a flower, and below that is a creeper, a vine. On the heel is a beautiful half moon. An elephant goad rests below the little toe, and in this way, 19 auspicious markings of Srimati Radhika's lotus feet are eternally remembered. And as a sample, conch. Now remember, there's 19 of these. And this is his meditation. And this can be our meditation as well. When we say, I want to take shelter of Radharani's lotus feet, what do they say in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Like you take a cotton fiber and you fluff it out. You find out that, it has a deeper, broader, multifarious, variegated, nuanced meanings. So conch shell. Okay, now we know that Radharani's got lotus feet and they're real. And we know one of those marks is a conch shell. And now the great deep philosopher Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is going to tell us how we can meditate on that conch, why it's there and what it means. The conch shell is a symbol of victory, proclaiming that those who take shelter of Radharani's lotus feet are always saved from all distress and awarded with fearlessness. Right there's a class. What is it? The one who takes shelter of Radharani's lotus feet are always saved from all distress and awarded fearlessness. As a conch holds water for bathing the divine couple, Srimati Radharani's lotus feet contain divine amrita that extinguishes the blazing fire of material existence and the suffering of the devotees. If you're feeling a burning fire, you put it out with water, right? And that water is held in the conch of Radharani's lotus feet. And they bring all success. When you blow a conch, it's an auspicious sound like the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. If I could actually take, Kurukshetra, if I could take shelter of Radharani's lotus feet, then I will be successful. I will conquer all things in this world. I will become fearless and go back home, back to Godhead. And all the burning suffering in my heart will be extinguished by the water in that conch. That's one of the 19 items. So tomorrow we'll talk about more. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimati Radharani. So I need those pictures back. We'll pass them out tomorrow, wherever they went. There's different ones. This one has actually got them all in the right place. Yeah, took some research. Thank you very much, Guru. But one last thing. If you walk away with one thing from this class, do we want to connect the dots? You know, you connect the dots, it makes a picture. Ever do that when you're a kid? Yeah. Hold on. Do we want the mercy of Srimati Radharani? Is that a valuable commodity? What do you think? Yes. Okay, we're in agreement on that. How do you get it? Do you get it in the bushes of Vrindavan? Where do you get it? On the streets of Calcutta. On the city streets. Or in the Krishna lounge. Or dressing the deities gorgeously so people are stunned. Hey, forget this mundane world. Look at this. This is real beauty. When we take up the mood, how you, and I don't want to too far, I want to let you go. But when we take up the mood of Srimati Radharani, let me bring the conditioned souls to Krishna's lotus feet. That's how we open the key of bhakti, the house of bhakti. That's how it happens. It is an open secret. Okay, thank you. That's the one. Walk away with that. Okay, Hare Krishna.